Hello, and welcome to Games You'll Soon Play, episode number 6. I'm your host, Liam Gallagher. On this episode, we have a roundtable discussion with the development team on Project Sunshine out of BR Warner Studios. After 2.5 days of intensive development on this project, we get together to talk about how the weekend went, the progress so far, and what you, the player, can expect from the game in the future. I want to remind the listener to take a quick moment to visit In a Flash on Steam Greenlight. I hope then you'll vote for it if you feel as strongly about the project as we do. If you're in Toronto at the end of September, stay tuned for our upcoming release party where we're going to be releasing In a Flash live to the public in person, as well as many other BR Warner Studios and Invisible Locomotive games, with live entertainment by myself on bass and a merry little band, playing songs, only the best hits, from games from BR Warner and Invisible Locomotive Studios. These hits include many of the songs that you've heard as intro and outro music for the Games You'll Soon Play podcast. All the music, of course, has been composed by myself. The piece that you're listening to now is for Grow Fast Industries, a game written by Brook Warner. Performances include Ben Fukuzawa on percussion, Marie Gowdy on trumpet, Michael DeRuggiano on guitar and effects, and myself on bass. Come on, guys, let's join the interview now.
So I'm Brook Jensen. I run the studio. I'm the creative lead on Sunshine. I'm also a developer and writer.
I'm Jonathan Semple. I do things like programming, and a bit of helping Brook with a bit of writing, a bit of design stuff, a bit of whatever. I don't know what I do a lot of the time.
That's a good job description.
Yeah, I think
impressed.
it's accurate.
I'm Marianne, Jette, and I do production stuff and admin stuff. So I'm helping untangle the knot that is the behind-the-scenes email sending and planning and releasing of things and products soon. And I am now also our dedicated Tumblr person.
Nice.
Sweet.
So that's the most important
You tumble.
part.
Yeah, I'll see you rolling.
I am the Tumblr.
I see you're rolling.
I'm Liam Gallagher. I'm all the non-vital soft tissues. I do music and sound effects and recording and that kind of stuff. So if you hear it, it was me.
Liam is also in charge of the podcast.
Yeah, I do this.
Yeah, he owns all these microphones.
Yeah.
They're pretty sweet, Mike.
It's a bit, there's cost in gear, something.
He set it all up. He's doing the thing.
Yeah, well, you have to know which end goes in which.
You just the plug in the thing into the other thing.
Yeah, for those of you who are not familiar with microphones, is you can't just jam any old wire into them. It doesn't work.
Really? Shit.
That would explain a lot of things about my own microphone setup.
Yeah. So John's going to have to leave us for a bit. But so this weekend, we have been developing Project Sunshine. We had a podcast a while ago for another weekend where we spent on it. And this is sort of a similar thing. 48 hours of Sunshine intensive stuff. So what do you think is the highlights in terms of the progress we've gotten done, Brook?
Okay, well, there are a lot of orgies in the game now. I mean, most of these involve Eldritch Abomination fleas. I'm not saying this is a game for everyone, but I think...
Unfortunately, there's currently not yet a way for the orgy, or a lot of the orgies to occur naturally, but they can occur.
Right. They have to be encouraged. There's a bit of...
You do have to send out invitations.
Yeah. The fleas are a bit timid, but they get there. So we have that. I mean, I guess I should probably explain what that means.
No.
I don't want. I guess we shouldn't. I guess spoil the puzzle aspects of the game. So yeah, we'll just leave it there. John, what's your highlight?
It's been a lot of time. We're fucking filthy in fleas now. It's pretty great.
Right.
Would you like to qualify that?
No. Again, no. We did particularly yesterday. We got a lot of administrative stuff out of the way, which is cool because we don't know. Marianne knows, so it's cool.
I don't even know what an email is.
Also, as of today, we officially have a Twitter handle. You can find us at see-through-train.
Why did they electrify mail?
Why did they what?
Why did they electrify mail?
It started as a prank.
Oh.
Someone's like, I want this guy to get really nasty surprised when he goes to pick up his mail. So electricity, and he grabbed the mail and electric mail.
And that's the moment in which Al Gore envisioned the internet.
As he was being electrocuted by the piece of mail he just picked up.
So, fun fact, in keeping with prank mail, you recently found a website that if you are upset with somebody and or want to send them prank mail, you can send them, it's a box. And when they open it up, there's a 9-inch inflatable penis that will auto-inflate and then spew confetti at them. And then there's like a message in the box about what you want to say to them. You can customize that as you
I mean,
wish.
a message in the box other than an inflatable.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a service that is offered. Welcome to the future. It has arrived.
Backers for the Kickstarter project of...
But on the note
Brook,
of
your next birthday,
on the note of Twitter handles, so I guess we should clarify this, but we're kind of two groups now. So we have a collective, which is the See-Through Train Twitter handle, Invisible Locomotive. It's the name has recently came up with. It's gone through a number of revisions, but yeah, Invisible Locomotive is a group of us, including people who aren't working on this project, who are interested in making games, and we're all interested in cross-promoting each other and helping each other. And BR Warner Studios, which is sort of my lead initiative on games and games I'm making with people, we're the ones making Sunshine. We're sort of part of this collective of game makers. And See-Through Train is our new Twitter handle for that, because we couldn't get Invisible Locomotive because Twitter handles have to be shorter than tweets, and tweets are really short.
yeah. It'd be so amazing if your Twitter handle could be longer than...
It's like 160 characters.
Yeah, like 255 characters. That's like a standard cap, right?
4 in 7 years.
Yeah, but
And so to send messages to people, you change your Twitter handle so you can,
and then you ping them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back on the project that we're supposed to be talking about, we have a tentacle monster that goes along with the flea orgies. So we have all the big pieces of this very strange eldritch horror encounter.
We have tentacles and orgies. It's
tentacles,
great.
Orgies, fleas.
Oh my.
There's mining. There's going to be flinging through black holes. And against this mass of not very pleasing stuff, you have bullets. And
you do have a lot of bullets.
You have a lot of bullets, but
You have an arbitrarily high number of bullets.
yeah. So I think that is where we want to be with sort of the theme of this game. And Liam is producing some sounds.
Yeah.
That
So one of the things I'm most excited about this weekend for sound design wise is in the past, basically every time we needed a new cue, it was just like, okay, here's a new thing I just came up with. But because there's sort of like a base, like a bed of existing audio for the game, I've been able to look at new cues and say, what other elements of the ship sound design can I tap into? So say, for example, we had to design the faster than light engines for this weekend. And so in developing the sound cue from that, I went to the Nova Cannon and said, okay, well, this big gigantic gun on the ship is using a lot of energy. It's going to take a lot of the resources of the ship in order to make that happen. This should feel like that, but bigger. And so I borrowed a lot of those sound sets and then found ways to basically amp them up and increase the intensity. And I'm really excited to have the end user get their hands on this. But basically what happens is the ship has like a mechanical, electrical like whirring that goes from like a groan to like a disturbed whine, as it sounds like the ship is about to break apart. And then a sine wave comes in that sounds like a ringing in your ears. And then there's complete silence for a moment. And then a gigantic explosion that sounds like the clap of thunder.
It's pretty sweet sound cue.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it getting animated and just having that moment where everything hangs still in the air for a second, and then there's the clap of thunder, and then the ship is gone. It's gonna be fun.
It sounds a lot like me waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna elaborate. That's
Fine. We wake up and there's a clap of thunder.
Yeah.
There's like a moment where it's like,
Perfect.
Yeah, it's cool because we sort of, I guess it's sort of like developing an art style, like building this sort of like, I guess, common thread throughout all the sounds. They all sound like they belong to the ship. So just listening to them without knowing where they're coming from, not necessarily like consciously, but sort of underneath that, knowing that all this comes from the ship because it has those sort of common sort of threads.
Yeah, it's this kind of thing that I'm getting excited about because it's no longer, you can talk about it in terms of sound or artwork or mechanics or whatnot, but I think we're getting to the point where we're no longer making a game, we're making this game. Yeah. You know, and the ship sounds the way the ship sounds in this game. And I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And definitely it's helped that we now have a plan on what our mechanics for this level are, so we're not just sort of building blindly in a direction thinking maybe there's a game over there. We have a full outline of what our level is going to be, which I guess I won't get into too much because I don't want to spoil it, because part of the thing is that it's a puzzle. But yeah. We've also been, Marianne's doing a lot of research into how to actually, what do we do when we have a game? So do you want to talk about like some of the strategies you've been using?
Most of the strategies that I've been employing this weekend are reading a lot of articles and taking a lot of notes. So get pumped.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that like a lot of people don't see the administrative side of a game company as really being like part of the apparatus that makes a game. But I want to make it clear that, you know, for my own purposes, I don't see it that way. You know, having been as a musician as well as like a band leader, I know that bands don't get onto the bandstand unless somebody calls everybody up and say 9 o'clock or I'm gonna kill you. and that's, you know, and that's oftentimes just seen as like menial work, but like it's just as critical. And as far as I'm concerned, that if you have some sort of responsibility that's critical in getting a video game delivered, you are contributing as critically as any other person who's doing a critical thing, like making artwork.
Yeah, and as an artist myself, I can also speak to the idea that I personally find that the sort of exhibition of your work at the end is a critical part in making it art. And so if we're making video games, I think a critical part of that, which seems really obvious, but it does get really nitty gritty really quickly, is that a critical part of making video games is obviously having people play them. And so you need to have a system in place to get your game onto the computers of those that will play it. And it sounds obvious, but it's not.
There's a lot of people. It's hard to get them to actually pay attention to you.
Yeah, and the research that I was doing, it was like that there are on, I can't remember, I think it was on Steam, there's something like an average of like 70 or 75 games released every day. So to be heard above the din is actually fairly complicated. And so I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of compiling of information so that when the time comes when we have everything ready to go, I can make like real media kits and send them out to the correct outlets and the editors that are actually into the type of games that we're putting out there, right? Because it's not enough to make a media kit and to send it out to 100 people if those 100 people are really into games that are not like the ones that we're making, right?
Or just bots on Twitter.
Exactly. So
yeah, so if you're on a game development team, you should either go hug your producer right now, or if you don't have a producer and you often felt like you've had a knack for organization but felt like you weren't working in a position that would really help make a game, I think you might want to reconsider your talents, because somebody who's actually able to help an artist get their art to an audience is an artist as well.
Yeah, and so far, honestly, it's just been asking the team a lot of questions and demanding answers in sometimes a nice way and sometimes not a nice way. But I think that that's key too, right? You need to ask those questions if you want to have an end product that's going to be worthwhile. So that's what I've been doing this weekend.
John, pop quiz.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to most in the next month as we run up to the release of this prototype?
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot. Oh God, oh God. See, now I actually have to remember, so I spent that time going, oh God, and not thinking about the question. So now I actually have to think about the question.
The motto here at our development team is when
Panic
in doubt,
first.
Yeah, panic first.
Do actual thought later, if ever.
Panic often and early.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way.
Now panic and freak out. None of this keep calm and carry on BS.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool that, well, it'd be really cool to hopefully at the end of August we're hoping to have something that other people can play without us explaining a fuck ton to them, just sitting down. Yeah. That if we can get that, that's gonna be awesome. And so we're also getting at the point where we're getting to the point where we're ramping up where we want to get start getting all that script stuff and gain more and more pieces that we can bring together to make the keys whole. We're starting to get to the point where we're actually in all those pieces. We're about to start working on the last bits and pieces and stuff and whatever. So, yeah.
We sort of have the outline drawn. It's just a matter of filling in at this point, which I think is good. And yeah, we've outside of this jam weekend, me, John, and Ryan, and kind of tangentially my brother, have been working on all the different people on the ship, working on sort of the background. We've been building out what the past sort of 300, 400 years of Earth history has looked like. So it's been interesting doing that. I've been trying to read doing some research books on that kind of stuff to build something that's actually meaningful and interesting and not just some trite.
What books have you been reading?
I've actually been reading Why the Rest Rules for now, which is really interesting. It's not quite what I wanted, but it's still it's very critical, so it's still just a good platform for just thinking. But it looks at what are the actual causes of societal rise and fall, and why we've seen sort of the patterns, especially between the quote West and quote East that we've been looking at, and kind of what are the actual explanations of that? Is it good, or what can we expect the current patterns to sustain themselves, or are they going to sort of flip around? It's very much, the reason it's not quite what I was looking for is because it's focused a lot more on older history than more recent history. It starts back pre-agricultural revolution, but it's definitely very interesting and certainly has helped me think about some stuff in terms of building this out.
Yeah. And Marianne, who has a lot of experience working in theater, is going to help me do the casting for all the plethora of voice acting that's going to be in this game. And I think that probably everybody else is in the same page as me, that as development went on, just realizing if we're going to own this voice acted concept, that there's going to be a lot of dialogue.
Yeah. So we're going to be writing that throughout the course of this month, which is why we got to get who these people are and what the context of their actions are done by next weekend.
Yeah, we need to, at the point where we need to actually start fleshing out the context of the random thing we're building.
Exactly. Well, we have the basic ideas, and we need to get those out to Liam so we can start looking at getting a cast for who is actually going to work well to voice act these people.
It's all very exciting.
It's one of those responsibilities you take on when you decide to eschew the familiar plot line of a man has a gun in space.
But that's so classic, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the calendar narrative running through it. So there's the man with a gun in space, and then, all this stuff we're working on, you're probably not going to care because it's a man with a gun in space. But,
yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, in some ways, a lot of our story focuses on, how useless having a gun in space is going to be for you.
You're a man, you have a gun, you're in space, and there's flea orgies and a giant tentacle monster.
Yeah. Or is using your gun on those things, even if it works, going to be even very meaningful to you if you don't have anything to do after that. So I hope we can flesh that out well. I'm certainly interested in trying it.
You shoot.
Except you can hear all the bullets in our.
Yeah. Are there chest-high walls in heaven?
There's little wisps of cloud that you can duck.
Yeah, that sticky clouds.
Yeah. Clouds.
Clouds are historically bulletproof. For
Yeah.
Liam produced a very interesting sound today.
These guys have me doing some of the most. Somehow I managed to put off doing the flea orgy sound effects this weekend. I don't know why
you won't evade it for long.
I don't know why that ended up on the bottom of the docket, but
Just kind of sounds like.
oh. Yeah, we're getting that.
All right, cool. So we have a sound cue.
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
Sample that. So, this is one of the things that we're talking about, the sound design concept kind of emerging from other assets. So we have a communication point hidden out in space that the ship comes across, and it's a clue. Somehow could be an explanation or an answer to what's going on. But as you draw closer to it and are able to, your sensors on your ship pick up the sounds that it's making, it's this horribly gibbering, disorganized, half human, half machine, groany thing that is made more uncomfortable by the fact that it's placed on a beat map, so it sounds rhythmic, so that despite that it's incomprehensible and strange, it's also regular and predictable. And so it's like you want to not hear it, but it makes just enough sense that you can't not.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. And it gives us a nice like endpoint, because you get there and then you hear this and everyone has a dance party on the ship and it's great. And so everything's fine.
And that's the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So,
You have passed.
Yeah.
Sunshine
That's
is
not the end of the
complete.
game.
So, I mean, like, I like space noises and whatnot, but I just keep on, producing so many horrible sounds for this game, which is great. Horrible in the way that you want if you want to play a game.
Where there's flea orgies and
Eldritch horrors in space.
unspeakable, unnameable.
Unnameable, unspeakable, non-Euclidean.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, I guess sound is non-geometric, so I'm off the hook there.
But yeah,
Can we have the sound cue sound just a bit more non-Euclidean?
I'm sorry. It's
I'm
just
hearing
a
some
little bit,
angles
like,
and-
straight angles are not what we want in our sound design.
I'll have to call up Euclid.
Hey.
I love that.
What you doing? I don't know, math stuff, I guess.
Euclid, you're so fabulous.
Always.
All right, so I think this is a good place to wrap up. We've got a good idea of where we're going and what we've accomplished this weekend. Is there anything that we want to leave the listener with? Something that they can look forward to?
Our amazing posts on Twitter at @SeeThroughTrain. And once I make a Tumblr account, I will post about it on our Twitter account. And then you can find us on social media. As far as I know, we're also starting a blog.
yes, I am going to be writing a blog.
And we're going to be putting that and the podcast and sharing, hopefully, some, like, maybe if we can get early concept art and stuff like that up on the internet and start talking to people about the things that we do.
Picture of the incredibly handsome Ryan Tan.
Yes, I think that's important for every piece of promotional material you have.
Next week, we'll just get glamour shots. We'll go to the mall. We'll all get glamour shots. It'll be... like,
We'll replace all the art
awkward
in the
hand
game
pose.
with just...
With our faces.
Yeah.
You know how there used to be, like, fax cover sheets?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so when you sent a fax, it would be, like, basically email for the telephone.
Yeah, I know what a fax is. Yeah. Good explanation, though.
So a cover sheet is you put it on the front of the fax so that when somebody's receiving the actual document, they know what it's from.
Oh,
It's basically like the sender and subject heading in an email.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
So I like the idea of us creating a cover sheet for our emails that's just a picture of Ryan.
It's just at the top of every single email.
There's just like a blank page. With just Ryan in it.
We'll just copy and paste it into the text box, and then the actual email will be in a PDF that is attached.
Yeah. Ryan's face, you've got an email from us. Here it is, a little attachment.
One of the things I'm really looking forward to is the launch party that we're going to be having. Date to be determined, but it's looking like the end of September. Yep. We're going to have live music. We're going to have an opportunity to play our games. It's going to take place in downtown Toronto-ish, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I believe so.
And it'll be an awesome opportunity for you to meet the developers and to try the games and get copies of them for super duper cheap and basically just join our enthusiasm for these projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could get a button.
Yeah.
Like just a pin back button. That'll be so exciting.
Hey man, that's the special touch that we put on these games.
Get amped. Get amped.
Yeah, and speaking of launch party, so In a Flash, which is the previous BO Warner Studios game, is going into beta. So that'll be out come beginning of September. So I'm looking forward to that.
And we should be soon-ish, like for the launch party, hopefully, like next month, releasing some of the other
collective
jam games. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Like the ones that, part of Invisible Locomotive, not necessarily BO Warner Studios, but part of the collective. There's a bunch of jam game stuff.
Yeah,
made,
so we have
gonna be like
Rat Killer.
Yeah.
And Mango Deathwish.
Yeah, they're things, and they'll be a thing, and you'll be able to.
And if you have questions, comments, concerns, or queries, you can also send them to our email account, invisiblelocomotive@gmail.com.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm William Gallagher.
I'm Brook Jensen.
I'm Jonathan Semple, most of the time.
I'm Marianne Jette.
All right. Thank you so much for listening.